And to shed more light on this topic, I'm so delighted to be accompanied over the phone by Dr. Mohamed El Ezaby, the international relations expert and the foreign affairs expert. Good evening, doctor.
Good evening to you.
Well, it's a great pleasure and honor. Well, we've been speaking about Egypt's condemnation today of the Iranian attacks on Kuwait, Bahrain, and Jordan, and that was notably firm, which actually reflects the clear strategic message that Cairo is sending to Tehran and regarding the sovereignty of the sister Arab countries.
Well, Egypt's strong condemnation of Iranian strike against Jordan, Bahrain, and Kuwait represents one of the clearest responses to the latest escalation. According to official Egyptian statements, Cairo views these attacks as violation of sovereignty and a dangerous threat to regional security. Egypt reaffirms that Gulf and Arab security is inseparable from Egyptian national security. Also, Egypt rejects attacks against any Arab state, regardless of this immediate military conflict. Cairo seeks to reinforce the principle that regional disputes cannot justify violations of state sovereignty. Egypt expressed full solidarity with Jordan, Bahrain, and Kuwait. This position strengthens coordination between Egypt and the moderate Arab bloc. Egypt diplomacy fears that direct attacks on Gulf states could transform the conflict from a U.S.-Iran confrontation into a broader regional war. Also, Cairo is attempting to contain escalation before it spreads further across the Arab world.
Well, Dr. Mohammed, these attacks actually represent a dangerous escalation from a strategic perspective. How close it is to the region, to a wider systemic conflict, and how is Egyptian diplomacy working to prevent it?
Well, we can say the latest escalation began after the downing of an American Apache helicopter near the Strait of Hormuz. Washington subsequently launched what it described as a proportional strike targeting Iranian air defense, radar, and military facilities. Nearly 20 Iranian sites were reportedly struck during the operation. Restored deterrence after the helicopter incident demonstrate military credibility without necessarily seeking full-scale war, pressure Tehran back toward negotiation from a position of strength. Also Egypt strategic calculation. Egypt's response reflects a delicate balancing act. Cairo opposes regional escalation. Egypt doesn't want a wider regional war that could disrupt energy markets, threaten maritime trade routes, damage the Arab economics, increase instability in Gaza, Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, and the Red Sea. So the Egyptian position clearly aligns with protecting Arab sovereignty and rejecting attacks against Arab states. At the same time, Egypt traditionally seeks to preserve communication with all major regional actors, including Iran, in order to facilitate future de-escalation efforts.
Well, of course, our foreign diplomacy is doing a great job here and there, lots of phone calls, lots of summits, lots of visits, lots of negotiating table, and of course lots of statements by our presidency calling for the or condemning those strikes in the Gulf area and in the sisterly Gulf countries. Well, speaking also about Egypt has also called for the strict adherence to the international law. Meanwhile, Cairo also holds to enforce these rules on non-Arab regional actors. So how do we do that? What's your vision?
Well, we know that Dr. Badr Abdel made many calls in the last 24 hours to make negotiations with all powers of the world, like European countries, African countries, and Arab countries. So he tried to convince the European countries to make a pressure on Donald Trump to stop any kind of escalation towards Iran, and make a pressure also on Donald Trump to force Benjamin Netanyahu to stop his war against Lebanon. Also, Abbas Araqji and the last call between His Excellency President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi and Masoud Pezeshkian, the President of Iran. President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi asked him not to strike Arab countries again. He told him that any strike towards Arab countries will make the war to begin again, and it may wider to a regional war. So both His Excellency President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi and Dr. Badr Abdel Ati made the great efforts to stop any kind of escalation in the Middle East. Also, we try to support Gaza and Lebanon and Sudan. Many things that the Egyptian diplomacy try to do in the current struggles in that area.
Well, Dr. Mohamed, of course, our foreign diplomacy is working on all levels, and actually on the international arenas for the safeguard of not for just the region, but for the Middle East also, and different countries, including, as you said, Sudan, Somalia, and all the strikes and the escalations that is happening in the region. Well, speaking about those provoking actions actually against those countries has its own consequences when it comes to the security and the dynamics in the Red Sea and the Arabian Gulf.
Well, from last some hours, Donald Trump announced that he may make a lot of strikes towards Iran. He may make strikes on Iranian infrastructure and electricity and many things like oil infrastructure. So Egypt try to convince the Arab countries to also make a pressure on Donald Trump not to strike Iran again. He wants all the Arab countries to back to negotiations with Iran to stop the escalation. Also, he said that any attacks towards Arab countries will make Egypt, if the Arab countries ask the help from Egypt, Egypt will help them to defend themselves against any attacks. So, not also a diplomacy of Egypt play a great role. We saw that Egypt, with His Excellency President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, with Mohammed bin Zayed in Dubai, when they saw some Egyptian aircraft in Dubai. Also, many talks about that Egypt helped Gulf countries to defend themselves against the Iranian attacks.
Yes, Dr. Mohamed, that was so fruitful. I would like to thank you so much for your time, Dr. Mohamed El Ezaby, the international relations expert. A short break and we'll be back.